This instruction is on walkers. Walkers are probably the most common piece of DME equipment there is. Walkers are a platform that's designed to aid in mobility that provides full body support. Full body meaning full body weight. There are three basic versions. We have a single button walker. Single button means that a single point of contact will collapse both arms. A two button walker, meaning that there are two separate controls. You can collapse one, the other one still stays rigid, offers more flexibility. And then we have a paddle walker. Paddle walker is a little higher end. It is basically a two button that, if you look at the sides, has a paddle. And what you can do is, while you're using your hands that are on the grip, you can simply reach down with an index finger and collapse one side. Again, because it's two buttons, it offers a certain amount of flexibility as far as seating, positioning yourself onto a couch, a cushion, a bed, where a single button wouldn't necessarily offer. For the purpose of setup, we're going to stick with the two button. It is by far the most common as well. Height adjustability is a crucial issue with the walkers. If the walker's not set right, it's going to cause the patient to slouch, or it's going to put them in an upright position that's uncomfortable. So what we need to do is get a measurement from the ground to the crease of the wrist. Okay, ground, crease of the wrist. It's a very, very common theme with the DME equipment, by the way, is the ground to the crease of the wrist. But in this case, that measurement sets those handles at approximately that crease. The result is, when you pick your hands up, put them on the handles, is that you've got that natural 10 to 12 degree bend in it, plus the flex, the angle at the wrist, isn't exaggerated. There's no undue stress, very, very comfortable. Now, whether it's the two button, or the paddle, they all adjust in height the same way. And that is, when they come out of the box, they'll be folded. And you'll see these legs attached in the center. So you're literally, when you assemble this thing, you're going to have to put these legs on. It's a very, very simple task. The leg comes out. When you look at the leg, you'll notice there are a series of holes. These are the height adjustment holes. They're approximately 1 inch apart. You simply slide the leg over the top of the walker, bring it down so that that spring button that's on the support leg, 1, 2, 3, 4, brass colored button, that support button, or that locking spring button, locks these legs into place. When we adjust, they adjust, push the button in, raise it or lower it, and the result is that we want to have a walker that is both level and steady. Level in this case doesn't necessarily mean plumb, because the design of the walker is situated so that it does actually lean back slightly. This is so that it's designed so that it discourages any sort of forward leaning. Forward leaning can result in tipping over, which is why we don't like this. When we have them sized properly, again, the handles are going to be approximately the crease of the wrist. So when they put their hands on here, on the handles, that gives them a nice, comfortable platform to walk. Now, there are a broad spectrum of accessories. Wheels only go on the front, never on the back. And the reason is that if you have a wheel on the front and the back, there's no braking system in the back. It's not going to be a matter of if, it's going to be a matter of when that somebody takes a spill. Best case scenario, they stumble and they catch themselves. But because there's wheels all the way around, the odds are that the walker is going to go flying away. They're going to land on their knees, possibly face into a steel support bracket, If they do, the walker goes flying and then they face plant. Very, very bad scenario. Never, ever, ever, ever allow somebody to put a standard wheel on the back of a walker. If they need to have wheels all the way around, there's a rollator. We'll cover that in a separate segment. But never, ever, ever allow wheels to go on front and back. There's one exception, and that's actually a wheeled brake. The wheel is a 3-inch wheel, but it's built on a spring system so that as soon as any weight is applied to the handles, it pushes down, and the rubber stopper is what comes in contact with the ground, not the wheel. The only advantage to it is if you've got somebody who has wheels up front, they put the wheel glide brakes in the back, it allows them to scoot around very, very easily, but until they put weight on it, or as soon as they put weight on it, then it locks into place, it breaks. Some people who are still fairly mobile but need a steadying effect, people like that have a tendency to use the wheel glide brakes. But as a rule, people will have a set of wheels up front, and you can see there's all kinds of options. Like I said, you'll see some people that use tennis balls. Tennis balls, the reason people like it, first off, they're inexpensive. Secondly is that they have the perception that they glide very, very quickly across surfaces. Unfortunately, that's not the case. Tennis balls, even though they are readily available, they're very, very common. As a rule, you have to poke a hole in them, cut the hole big enough so that it'll actually fit on the leg. Plus, if you take it outside, the hairs pick up dirty water, they pick up all the dirt, they pick up stones, and they're the biggest culprit for someone who gets a walker and they bring it into, say, like a hardwood floor, and scratching the floors. We try to discourage the tennis balls only because of that fact. Now, with that being said, the walker platform has other options like a platform, like a tray, a basket. And those are all very, very self-explanatory. A basket sits up front and allows you to put things in it. When you have somebody who wants a basket, I encourage you to take the legs and make them one notch shorter than they are if you don't have a basket. And the reason that is that it kicks the walker back slightly to compensate for a basket and the weight that could be put on it. Again, this whole issue of a tilt forward is a bad thing, a tilt backward slightly is not necessarily a bad thing. Along the same lines, we have trays. A walker tray is a device, and lots of companies make them, that either fit into this area and provide a platform to set down a drink, hold a book, maybe a plate, but they're not designed for, let's say, a cafeteria tray. They're designed for you to set something down and possibly something light while you're moving, but they're really not designed for transportation of food, you've got a hot cup of coffee set there. They're really not designed for that. They're merely a platform to set something light. There are platforms, and a platform attachment is a device that, when you attach it to the walker, allows somebody who's, let's say they've had a stroke and their right side is weak, but their left side is normal. What they do is this platform attachment mounts, and it acts as a forearm tray. It has a grip that comes up that they can grab, but the idea is that it straps to the forearm, and they would lift the walker with their forearm on one side and the hand on the other. That's the walkers. Again, there's a single button, 2 button, a paddle, and by the way, weight capacities are across the spectrum as well. Walkers go from 250 pounds up to 850 pounds. So whether it's pediatric, geriatric, or bariatric, the walkers, the family of walkers accomplish all of this. Height adjustable done by push buttons on the legs. The leg slides up and down, push button stays fixed. Measurements from the ground to the crease of the wrist gives you a positive starting point for measurements. And again, those measurements are taken from the person in their normal position or their normal posture, not necessarily into a forced upright posture. If you have any questions, please feel free to call or contact the product support desk, and thank you.